Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. In today's video, I'm demonstrating a bridal look for you. I'm very excited because I'm actually really happy with how this look turned out. The bridal look I'm demonstrating is one that is really soft and romantic. It's created with brown shadows, which a lot of my bridal clients love. The shadows look great on different skin tones. The look itself is not really glam, but it's also more than a light and natural makeup application, so it's right in the middle, and I think that's why this is such a commonly requested look for me anyways. You're also gonna get to see how I apply makeup on my clients who are going to be in really warm climates for their wedding day, whether it's a summer wedding, outdoor wedding. So I'll be showing you some of the products that I use to sweat proof the makeup. And before we get into the makeup application, there's just a couple of the products that I want to point out to you and give you a few more tips about how to use them, and then you can see how they actually work as I'm applying the makeup in the rest of the video. One of the key products that's really important to having a makeup that lasts for a long time in really hot climates is this product. It's called Mehron Skin Prep Pro. This is a sweat blocker. It's a miracle product. It also works really great under oily skin. Now, the key with this product is that it goes on skin that is completely clean. If you're going to be using this, you have to make sure that your client actually doesn't have any skincare product on their face before you start the makeup application. If they have a drier skin, all of their skin treatment is going to be done the night before, and they're going to come to their makeup appointment with you with a completely clean face. This product is a liquid product. I like to apply it with a cotton pad. You're kind of using it as a toner, if that makes any sense, but you are going to keep it away from the eye area. I like to apply it along the hairline, just down the T-zone, on the upper lip, and on the chin, and especially on this side of the face as well, because a lot of people sweat and it kind of runs down the side of their face. So if you are going to be using this product, make sure you get in this area as well. Any areas where people sweat. So if people beat up on the upper lip, you're going to apply it there, along the hairline. These are all areas that you need to hit with this product before your makeup application. It really is a miracle product, but I will warn you, this does tighten up the skin. It feels a little bit unusual. So this is something that you may want to talk about with your bridal clients. When you do the makeup trial, you can apply this then, and you can talk to them about the product, see if it's something that's going to work for them, and apply it on them and see how comfortable they are with it. If they absolutely hate it and it makes their skin feel tight, then it's not going to be something that you're going to use on the wedding day, and you're going to kind of have to come at the sweat proof thing from another angle, and I'll talk about that in a sec. But this is definitely the star product of this video. It really is so great, and it's also great if you're working on set and you have models or talent that are going to be outdoors or shooting in hot climates, or they're going to be running around. It really works well to control sweat and oil underneath the makeup. Of course, in this video, I'm going to be using the Cinema Secrets foundation, waterproof foundation, which is great to use. So we're kind of doubling up on the waterproofing here with the skin prep and with the Cinema Secrets foundation. So I'm using this product as foundation and concealer. And I'm also using the Cinema Secrets setting spray in this video as well. Now, this setting spray, if you don't want to use the Mehron skin prep, you can use this as a skin prep product, and it helps with controlling sweat and oil on the skin. So you would mist this onto the skin first, apply your Cinema Secrets foundation. You can apply it again if you need to. So that is another option if you really need to sweat proof your makeup, if you don't want to use the Mehron skin prep. Something else that's really awesome, I'm using a pair of Velour Lashes in this video, and I think they're a big part of why this look is so beautiful. The style I'm using in today's video is a style called You Complete Me. I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago, when I have bridal clients, especially those that book larger bridal parties with me, I do like to gift them a luxury lash. I've worked with every style, and I can say they're honestly extremely comfortable to wear. They look really beautiful. The lashes come in mink and silk. I generally prefer to use silk to give to my clients, just in case they're not comfortable with the mink lash. As some of you may know, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that Velour Lashes is one of my longtime clients. I do a lot of work for them, and they are actually hooking everybody up with a 20% off discount code, which I'm really excited to share with you. So that discount code will be in the description box, and you can pick up a couple pairs of lashes for your bridal clients. It's a really nice gesture, especially since the packaging is so beautiful and the lash is so comfortable to wear. You might want to grab a couple different styles. You Complete Me is one of my favorites, and there's a bunch of styles from the Effortless collection as well that you might want to check out, but I'll link you to a bunch of my favorite styles in the description box. 20% is actually a really great discount, so hopefully for those of you that are building your bridal business, you can pick up a couple of pairs, and it's just a nice touch for your bridal clients. So I wanted to mention that for you, and thank you to Velour for hooking us up with that discount. Our model today, her name is Summer. She suited this look really well. I think she looks beautiful, and she also has freckles, so those were really nice to have show through the makeup. So let's take a look at Summer's before photo. A few things that I wanted to note before I start the makeup application here. We can see that Summer has beautiful skin. She's got these really great freckles, and it's my preference to let things like this show through the makeup. And if you have clients that are looking for a more enhanced version of themselves on the wedding day, definitely do not want to cover up things like freckles. It's going to make them feel like they're not quite themselves. What's important to note when you are working with someone that has fair skin and let's say freckles, or maybe even if they have redness to their skin or rosacea, once you apply the foundation, some of the pigment that they're used to seeing on their skin is going to be taken away. So in Summer's case, I'm using the Cinema Secrets foundation, which is naturally a medium to fuller coverage. Some of the smaller freckles obviously are going to be covered by the foundation. And what can happen with this is that your clients will look more pale once their foundation is on, and they'll take a look in the mirror and they'll feel like something is off. It's important that you make a note to go back in and really focus on bringing in some more color to the skin, a nice natural blush color, and even before you get to the blush, adding some dimension and definition with foundation on the skin or with a sculpting powder, which is what I'll be doing today. For Summer specifically, I'm taking a cue from her neck. On either side of her neck, you can see she's got a little bit of sun. So I'm going to probably take something that's yellow undertone with the foundation and go in and add some definition and dimension to the skin. And that's going to bring some color back to her face. So just a note about working with people with fair skin or any skin tone where they have redness or freckles. Once you cover them up, that takes away some of the color they're used to seeing on their skin. And it might take them some time to get used to, especially since they haven't seen the whole picture and the finished makeup look. The other thing I want to note is take a look at Summer's eyes. She's got beautiful big eyes. You can see that the eyelid is a little bit darker than the rest of her skin. So I'm going to take a few steps to make sure to neutralize this color on her eyelid so that the brown shadow color can really pop. If you do not take the time to do this, regardless of what color shadow you're going to put on your client's eye, it's not going to show up true to color. I will likely use an eyeshadow base. I'll probably go in with some Studio Fix powder just to make sure I have a nice clean base, and then the shadows that I put on top will definitely show up. Also looking at Summer's brows, they're closer to her eye, so I don't want to overfill in the brows here. I just want to groom them a bit, fill in any sparse spots. If I fill in her eyebrows too much or I overdraw them, it's really going to close up her eyes, and especially since I'm using a false lash today, I want to keep the eyes as open as possible so we can see some dimension with the eyeshadow and we can really see that beautiful brown smoky look that I'm going for. And I want to make it so that the lashes stand out and don't make her eyes look any smaller. So that's something important to note as well. When you have a client that has a brow that's closer to the eyelid, you have to be careful not to make the eyes look heavy. Summer's lips have a lot of pigment to them. I prefer to mix up a lip color and apply something that's very similar in tone when I have clients that have very pigmented lips. But with bridal, you definitely need to take into consideration what your client is asking for. If they want to do a bold lip, do a bold lip. If they want something that's different than what you think, you want to try a couple of different things in the trial so you're comfortable with the final result. I prefer to do a more natural lip as well with a heavier eye. To me, it's a more balanced look, so that's what works for me, and that's what I'm going to be doing today with this look. Not a lot of skin prep in this video. As I mentioned, the Mehron works best over completely clean skin. I'm being very careful to apply this lightly with a cotton pad. If you over apply this, it can leave a white residue on the skin and it will make your client's skin extremely tight and uncomfortable. So I'm applying this along the hairline, down the T-zone. I'm being careful to avoid the eyes. You want to apply this on the upper lip and just on the hairline by the ears as well. You want to give the skin prep about 5 minutes to settle on the skin before you start the foundation application. Summer skin is more neutral in tone, so I'm mixing a pink undertone Cinema Secrets foundation with a yellow undertone Cinema Secrets foundation just to neutralize it, and that is going to give me the right color match for her skin. And as I mentioned, her eyelids are a bit darker, so I'm going in with some foundation on the eyelids. Not too much because I don't want it to crease, but I do want to have a little bit of coverage on that eyelid before I start my eyeshadow application. I'm really particular about making sure the lid has a bit of product on it and making sure that there is some coverage right to the lash line and to the inner corner of the eye. So I'm using this smaller brush to get right in there with the foundation, brushing out some excess product with a disposable lash wand, and then applying the MAC Prep and Prime 24-Hour Extend Eye Base. I love this primer for bridal. This stuff is indestructible and it's a great eyeshadow base, and it's clear so you can use it on any skin tone and underneath any eyeshadow that you're using. And with this as well, making sure I get right to the lash line, the inner corner of the eye, and right up to the brow. Setting the brows with some loose powder, I'm going to create a nice dry base before I start doing the brows and the eyeshadow look. And I like to do this just to make sure that my brow powder really adheres to the brow. Neutralizing some of the color on her eyelid with MAC Studio Fix Powder Foundation. I'm using this as my base shadow, and I'm gonna make sure to get this right down to the lash line in the inner corner of the eye and right up to the brow. Especially with bridal and just in general with my eyeshadow applications, I like to make sure that the colors go on very smoothly, there's no skipping, and the entire lid is covered in color. Lightly filling in the brows with the Anastasia Brow Powder Duo. I like to use more powder products on the skin when I know I'm going to be working with clients who are going to be in very hot, humid conditions. I don't like to use a lot of creamy products. Occasionally, if you have a client that maybe has thinner, more sparse brows, you can layer a pencil with a powder and you'll get a nice, long-lasting, natural-looking brow. But in this case, because she already has very full brows, I'm just lightly going in with an angled brush and brow powder and only filling in where she needs it. I want her eyes to remain open, and I don't want the brows to look very heavy. I'm going to start building out this eyeshadow look now. I'm starting with a first layer of eyeshadow. I'm going all over the lid with this. I generally like to start with a soft taupe or a light brown color, and I use this first layer of eyeshadow as my guideline, and I softly bring it up and blend it up the eyelid. I have to be cautious here of how high I bring the shadow up the lid, which is why I like to do this with a lighter brown. If I started with a really dark brown eyeshadow and I went too high up the lid, it would be very hard to minimize. So I'm just lightly going in and blending this out to give myself a guideline. I'm so excited for you to see this MAC Extra Dimension eyeshadow. This eyeshadow is becoming one of my favorite products for bridal. I like to apply this shadow with a damp brush. In this case, I use MAC Fix Plus, and I apply this on the center of the eyelid and on the inner corner of the eye. It opens up the eye a little bit. It adds some dimension to a pretty simple, straightforward eyeshadow look, and it looks like a creamy highlight on the eyelid, but it dries to a powder finish. So it's great for clients who are going to be sweating or in humid climates. Using the Stilazzi pencil brush to go in and just do a little bit of detail work to get right into the inner corner of the eye with this Extra Dimension eyeshadow. Again, just a great way to open up the eye and add some dimension. Using the MAC Hyper Real Glow palette in Flash and I'm using the lightest color in the palette as a highlight under the brow. This Hyper Real palette is such a great palette, especially for bridal, and I love to use it on the skin and also as eyeshadow. And of course, when you're using highlighters under the brow, just brush out any excess. Now it's time to start enhancing these brown shadows. I'm going in with a shadow that is a deep, medium, warm brown, and I'm using this on the inner corner and almost as a contour color, but I'm gradually, really slowly blending this onto her eyelids so the look doesn't end up being very heavy. I'm going in and layering another brown. It's a lighter brown from the brown I just used from the MAC Semi Sweet x9 palette. I'm using this to build the look out. This is how you get that nice graduated, really soft, smoky, romantic eyeshadow look. Just very slowly blending it out into the outer corner and the crease. Not using a liquid liner again in this video. I promise I'll do one with a liquid liner soon, but I like to go in with a really dark black eyeshadow. Again, keeping it more powder product focused and not using a lot of creamy products for those clients that are going to be sweating or in hot climates. I'm using this angled brush to get right into the lash line, so when we put the false lash on, everything blends in seamlessly. I'm going back in with that same MAC 217 brush and the Marc Jacobs Glambition eyeshadow palette. It's that light taupey color, that soft brown. I'm softening the edges of the shadow. I'm blending it up into the crease, doing this really slowly, gradually with layers of shadow so the shadow looks soft, smoky, romantic, and not heavy. This is weirdly one of my favorite parts of makeup application. I love removing that fallout under the eye with a Bioderma, and I like to use the cotton pad to shape the outer corner of the eyeshadow. And then I'm gonna follow up with Maybelline Great Lash in Waterproof. It's Blackest Black. When I'm using a false lash, I don't like to have a chunkier lash underneath, especially for bridal. I find it can look a little bit unnatural. So the Great Lash Mascara is my mascara of choice when I am applying a lash over top. It just coats the lashes, gets them nice and dark, and it doesn't make them look chunky underneath the false lash. Another favorite part of makeup application for me is applying a nice, really beautiful false lash. So I'm using Velour Lashes in You Complete Me and the Velour White Latex Free Lash Glue. This glue is pretty heavy duty. I've worked on set with it many, many times, so it will definitely withstand a very humid, hot day. I like to let the glue get tacky for about a minute before I apply the lash. I use the Velour Too Easy Lash Applicator to pop the lash into the lash line, and then I will adjust it sometimes with my fingers or the applicator, but the applicator is great for making sure the lash is adhered to the inner and outer corner of the eye. Once the lash is on, you may need to make some more adjustments to your eyeshadow. You might need to add a little bit more just to make the eyeshadow stand out behind that false lash, which is what I'm doing here. I'm going in with that beautiful light brown taupey color from the Marc Jacobs palette, and I'm just bringing up the eyeshadow a bit more on the eyelid and blending it out softly. Then I'm going to finish the foundation application. I'm using that same combination of Cinema Secrets foundation, a yellow undertone and a pink undertone, and I am going in and buffing this onto the skin, making sure to get under the eye, around the nose, and just very lightly, gradually building up coverage where I need it. And you can see here, I do mix the foundation on the palette and then work off the palette onto the skin. Using the Cinema Secrets as concealer, and I'm mixing it with one of the light peach correctors just to brighten up the under eye area. Her under eye is a little bit darker, which actually works to our advantage with this eyeshadow application, but I'm just making sure to get right up to the lash line with the concealer corrector combo. Now I'm going in with a yellow undertone Cinema Secrets foundation. It's probably about maybe a shade or a shade and a half deeper than her actual skin tone. I'm using this to create dimension and definition on the skin. I'm also using this to blend in with her neck because her neck is a little bit tanned on either side, as you saw in the before photo, and this will just bring some color back into her complexion. I lost a little bit of that when I applied the foundation because we can't see all of her freckles anymore. I'm doing a light application of this. I'm gonna go in with a powder product once the foundation is set. I don't want a lot of creamy product weighing down her skin in a hot and humid climate. I'm setting the under eye area with this MAC 224 brush and the Laura Mercier translucent powder just to make sure nothing creases or cakes. I like to go in with a smaller brush and loose powder to ensure that everything is set in the under eye area. Taking the Sephora number 98 brush, this is such a versatile brush to have in your kit. I use it for highlight, for blush, and I'm also using it for setting powder in this case. I'm using the brush to just gently buff in the setting powder. I want to be careful to not use a lot of setting powder because we do have that sweat control product, so she's not going to need a ton of powder on her skin to set the makeup. Now going in with a sculpting powder from Makeup Forever. This is a really finely milled powder, so it's a great product to use for your clients who are going to be in hot, humid climates. I'm using this product to add dimension onto the skin, to shape her cheeks, and to add some more color to the perimeter of her face. This is going to blend her face and neck together, and you can see it really brings some life back into the skin. And I'm going to make sure it's all blended well with the 98 brush and a little bit of setting powder. Once the lashes have dried, I like to go in with a black eyeshadow and an angled brush and fill in the inner corner or any little gaps that I'm seeing between the natural lash line and the false lashes. I'm going to do some eyeshadow on the lower lash line, but I'm keeping it very soft, and I'm going to make sure the shadow is well blended. Be very cautious with this. Sometimes this can make the eyeshadow look messy if you use a color that's too dark, but I think doing a shadow on the lower lash line is just going to add to that soft, romantic, smoky feel. So I'm just making sure it's very well blended. And here I'm just doing some finishing touches, making sure everything is even, symmetrical, and the shadow looks well blended on both eyes. Lower lash mascara, being very cautious not to over apply mascara here, and of course always using a waterproof mascara for this if you're working in hot climates or you're doing your bridal clients in case anybody starts crying. And then I'm going to take out any chunks of mascara with this disposable lash wand. Mixing the MAC Extra Dimension blush and a regular MAC blush in copper tone because I want that really nice natural flushed look for this makeup application, and the Extra Dimension blush adds a nice highlight onto the cheek. Making sure all the brows are in place using the Got To Be spiking glue. This stuff is indestructible and great in hot climates. Adding some more highlight onto the top of the cheek, I'm using the MAC Hyper Real Glow Palette, again using the same color that I used for the highlight under the brow, so everything looks harmonious and works well together. Then I am going to take my fan brush and just touch up any of the lashes that may have some highlighter or excess powder on them. I want everything to be nice and dark. Using the MAC Prep and Prime Lip Primer, I love this lip primer because I'm not a big fan of using long-wearing liquid lipsticks. This primer gives the lips some hydration, it gives a good base for the lipstick to go over, makes a regular lipstick a little bit longer wearing, and also prevents bleeding, which is great for those deeper, darker colors that you're going to be using. And I'm just mixing a lipstick that looks very similar to her own natural lip color. And here's the final look. I think she looks great. She looks like an enhanced version of herself. Everything looks soft and romantic and well blended. And if we take a look at the before and after, there's a few things that I want to point out. You can see that her eyes look nice and open. Even though the eyeshadow look is a bit heavier, it's not weighing down her eyes. Her brows are nice and defined, but not overpowering. The lip color was the right choice. Her cheeks look great and her skin looks glowing. And we've managed to use powder products to give her skin a glow that looks like it was done with something that is creamier, so her skin still looks healthy and not weighed down by makeup, which is really important when you are doing bridal makeup applications. One thing I wanted to mention about the lash, and you'll be able to see this here, when you're using a flared out lash style, the point of that lash is to really open up the eye area. So when you are applying this lash on your clients, you may want to trim it just short of where their natural lash line ends. Most likely the lash style that you're going to be using is thicker and heavier in appearance than their own natural lashes. If the lash is glued too far out, it can actually weigh down the eye. So you want to make sure that the lash is trimmed to a length where it's going to open up the eye and not make it look heavy or slanted downwards on the outer corner. So just a really important tip when you are applying lashes, because I've seen many beautiful makeup looks and then the lash is too far out on the outer corner of the eye and it can really change the whole shape of the eye. We want a soft, pretty look with an eye that looks nice and open, and you don't want to have your lash really weighing down your client's eye shape, so it's something important that I wanted to mention. And that's it for today's video. I'm a big fan of this makeup application. This is a great bridal look. You can do this look on a bridesmaid as well. And if you can get your hands on the Mehron Skin Prep or the Cinema Secrets Setting Spray, it's a great tool to have in your arsenal for bridal and other jobs where you're going to be working in warm climates or you're going to be working with people that are sweating. And just be very careful not to over apply the Mehron Skin Prep if you're using it. Just a little bit is all you need. The stuff is really heavy duty, and definitely make sure to remember to apply it in the hairline around the ears. And sometimes if the client's wearing an updo, I will actually apply the skin prep along the base of the neck as well, just for extra sweat proofing. If you have any more questions about this makeup application, leave them in the comments. Okay guys, there's some crazy construction going on. I'm sure you can hear it. So I will end the video here. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you will be able to take advantage of the Velour 20% off code and either treat yourself or your bridal clients to some really beautiful lashes. I will see you guys next Wednesday. Bye everyone.